What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. Happy Saturday night to those of you that are watching us live. I want to say a big hello to those of you in our Zoom room. And I'm going to read some of the comments that have come in from you. Also want to welcome those of you watching on Facebook and YouTube. Always kind of fun because people kind of stumble onto us. And we are the Global Peace Tribe. We have been doing a show every Wednesday and Saturday night for 6 years. And we bring you inspirational people, stories, and always wonderful, wonderful music. And tonight we've got great music. Of course, as we already were talking about before we opened up live, we have Ashok with us, and he always does beautiful, beautiful kirtan. And it's a special night because it's his daughter's birthday. So it's wonderful to have Ashok with us. And we're going to meet a new friend tonight. We're going to, in a little bit, we're going to chat and meet with Cecilia St. King. And she's been doing peace work and beautiful music for a long, long time. And then, of course, we've got DR, who's going to lead prayer time for us. Now, we're also going to do something unique tonight. It's the last week of Interfaith Awareness Week. So we're going to, at 7 o'clock, we're going to all mosey over there where we are going to experience Ben Bowler, Matthew Fox, Steve and his wife, and kind of catch the closing of Interfaith Awareness Week. And then we're going to all come back here again to the Awakening World for a little more Cecilia, a little more Ashok, and of course, our beloved house musical artist, Omashar, who's going to get us started right now.
Yes, namaste and welcome. And yes, Mother Mary's Ascension Day, India's Independence Day, and all of the other amazing things that are occurring in our awakening world right now. And this song that I'm going to sing is called Just When. And there's a line in this song which says, "So I came to remind you." And the I that came to remind you is the source of all creation within your heart that's reaching out to say, I came to remind you who you are. So just a little heads up on the lyrics there. And let's do it. Here we go. Just when you think that all is lost and the curtain looks to fall, perhaps it's just the song of hope that calls. your trust in life exposed. No need to sit around and mope. Where there is love, there's always hope. Trust in your life and you will see that you reflect as me. Another day is here for you to live, and I'll walk it through with you. There is no doubt your heart is pure and true. So I came to remind you. No need to sit around and mope. Where there is love, there's always hope. Trust in your life and you will see that you reflect as me. Trust in your life and trust in me. Dust yourself down and I'll lift you up. I will fill your loving cup. Just when you thought that all was lost, I came to remind you. No need to sit around and mope. Where there is love, there's always hope. Trust in your life and you will see that you reflect as me.
Let's give some twinkles and love and appreciation. And let's not sit around and mope, because there is always hope when Omashar is with us, inspiring us with his beautiful music.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to our first guest. She has got quite a story.
She does. She does. And I'm going to get to our first guest in just a moment, but I do want to read some of the comments that have come in to our chat box, because I love including our beautiful Zoom room audience. So Dia Therese pointed out that she had not heard before of the Mother Mary Ascension, but the Interfaith Awareness Week has revved her all up. And so she's really enjoyed that very, very much. And Carol Craig, coming to us all the way from Trinidad, probably gets the award for watching the most interfaith awareness programs. She has watched at least 8 of those programs this week, and she's really enjoyed them. And really appreciating that climate change. Oh, Ben, don't call me. Really appreciating that climate change is been a big theme that they've had. So thank you, Carol. It's great to have you with us. And maybe, you're going to love this. Doug summed it all up. You know, we were talking about how August 15th is Mother Mary Ascension Day. It's Ashok's daughter's birthday. Her name is Denali. It is Independence Day for India Independence Day. And Doug May summed it all up in one sentence. He says, "This is the day that Mother Mary participated in the interfaith ascension of Denali." Well done, Doug. Well done. I'm going to read just a couple more comments. Scotty Satori is with us, and we love Scotty. And he says, "This is going to be an awesome experience. I can feel it in the air tonight." And our wonderful beloved Reverend Jeffrey Colebrook, coming from New York, writes, "The Interfaith Week was amazing. To the few I was able to find time, I only wish I could see more, and I loved the show on peace." Susan Bloomquist, coming from Lake County, California, says that she remembers very much Ascension Day of Mother Mary. It was the holy day that Susan related to the most. And Another Carol, the one from Mountain View, California, says she's very much aligned with Mother Mary's Ascension Day. So thank you, everybody, for coming to us. It's been a joy sending love from Ecuador. I love that we have people from Ecuador, Trinidad, all over the United States, of course. So welcome, everybody, and thank you for your comments. And keep them coming in. And we're definitely going to have today be a nice interactive day. All right. It's wonderful how we meet people. I met this wonderful woman, Cecilia St. King, on Facebook. We started in Facebook messaging with each other. Um, and I'm going to read to you a little bit about her, but then I'm going to show you because a picture is 1,000 words. She is an award-winning singer-songwriter, recording artist, and speaker, and a spiritual storyteller. And she's always used music to awaken hearts and inspire peace. She's an internationally recognized performer. She truly has played all over the world, and she has spent more than 2 decades bringing her unique blend of American roots music, ageless wisdom, and spoken word to audiences around the world. Um, Her work has been recognized by the United Nations, the Gandhi Institute for Nonviolence, the National Peace Academy, and we are the Global Peace Tribe. And in 2018, she won first place in the South Florida Folk Festival Songwriters Competition. So she is all about music. She's all about peace. And I want to share with you, um, when you go to her website, and I encourage all of you to do it, I'm going to put her information and her website into the chat box right now so all of our Zoom roomers can go right there. But
Wow.
take a look at this wonderful, whoops, I don't want to enable dictation, not now. Do you always get like those little interesting things out of the blue? Okay, here we go. This is her website, and we're looking at kind of her history, some of her history, singing, playing all over the world. By the way, I love the word at the very top. She just added us, obviously. But look at all these wonderful things, and a picture tells 1,000 words. There she is with Pete Seeger, by the way, who is probably one of the great American folk songwriters. Um, and I love that poster. I remember that from back in the 60s. Um, and just look at how much this woman's done. I love that there's Mother Teresa, and there you are,
Oh,
Cecilia,
cool.
all over the world. There's many of our heroes, Gandhi, and we get to see you different hairstyles through the year. That's kind of fun. Um, and there you are. Is that Jimmy Carter?
That's the, no, that's, he's with the Culture of Peace at the United Nations.
Okay.
You
Well,
can click on the name and you'll see his name. Yeah.
okay.
That was a
I've
long
only
time ago, like 2012, 2010.
I've
Yeah.
only scrolled about a third of the way through it. It's that much. I'm going to end on our beloved Paramahansa Yogananda, who I know is
Thank you.
very
And
close to
Guruji.
many of us.
Guruji, yeah.
So welcome to the Awakening World, Cecilia.
Thank you so much, Scott, for having me. I'm so honored to be here and Oma Shar, your songs, everybody, to join you all here. Ashok, thank you. Happy birthday to your daughter. Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, it's a fun crew that we have tonight.
And to the
So,
Blessed Mother
Cecilia,
on her Ascension Day.
yeah, right. It is really truly a special day. And do any of those things, Ascension Day, has that been part of your kind of archetypal spiritual journey?
Yes, well, I wanted to share with you, I was in a monastery, oh, that's off. I was in a monastery in New Zealand, studying, it was called Shambhala, and I found this stone. I don't know if you could see it.
Yeah,
Let
we
me
see it.
see. And look at the back.
Oh, wow.
It looks just like, you can't, she's super shiny.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Looks just like the Blessed Mother. It's like,
Oh,
and there she is
wow. Yes,
praying.
I see
See
that.
that?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's say that's, and
So
it's
she's got a
beautiful. It's
shawl over her head.
malachite, yes. And it's this incredible silver blue stone. So yeah, me and the Blessed Mother, we got a thing going on. I think I crowned her like when I was 7 years old in Catholic school for Mother's May Day or something. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. I got a thing with all the ascended masters, right?
Well, tell us, let's go back and give us a little bit, since it's your first time here, give us a little bit of your history.
So I had been a professional musician, it seems like most of my adult life. Probably I started when 1981, there's a picture of me at Folk City right there in Manhattan, where Bob Dylan got his start. And then I was touring a lot and toured all throughout Japan in the 90s, had a CD that I released over there. And then I moved to New York and some stuff happened. I moved there right at 2020. And, I'm sorry, at 2000, because of Y2K, I was like a little nervous, wanted to be back with my family. And I moved to to New York City, and I had a lot to do with the experience of being at the World Trade Center when the buildings fell.
Mhm.
It's a very long story. I wound up singing all around the city for days afterward, and I wound up with cancer in my throat. And when
Wow.
you are faced with losing the gift you've been given, it makes you take a step back and ask yourself, what are you doing with that gift? So I took off and I went to this monastery in New Zealand called Shambhala. And I got very quiet, studying the Ageless Wisdom teachings as translated by Alice Bailey in Dwal Kul. And I got really quiet, meditating 3 times a day and studying. I think it was probably the happiest time of my life, living in that environment where I was just surrendered and taking a good look at what happened and why did I get cancer and all that. And then I went back to, when I got back to the United States, we were going to war. Remember, we were all going to war right after 9/11.
Right.
And I started to become a voice for peace. And at that time, I was the only person at the time who voted against the Iraq War was Howard Dean. So I contacted him. There's a wonderful story about meeting him and playing with him, and and a moral dilemma and all that stuff. But I wound up playing with him, and I've actually had the pleasure, maybe a little bit aside, but not to perform for 4 presidents over the years. In their outcome, their campaigning, not maybe directly, but and then over time I discovered that peace didn't really belong to any particular political climate or person. It had to be nonpartisan. And it wasn't something that I looked out for outside of myself. It was something that I find within myself. And so I write these songs to give people a chance to, it's not like, it's not new age. It's sort of, I think, pop, acoustic pop, rock, singer, songwriter, with a spiritual edge. So it gives people a chance to take these teachings in without it having to be a heavy lesson. When I perform, I often tell a lot of stories and songs and storytelling, and all I could do is be an example to people for how I live my life and hope that maybe something that I have to share with them resonates with how maybe they can shine their own light, right? Yeah, so that's kind of my job, is to remind people of their own divinity. And when we see the divinity within each other, I mean, I'm not going to be able to hurt you if I see the God within you, right? See it in me, see it within you, see it in the sentient beings. So that's sort of where I'm at this point in my spiritual evolution as a musical mystic, and wanting to share that with people. I also have an educational element. When I started being a peace troubadour, I didn't want to just sing for peace. I wanted to teach peace, teach people how to find peace within themselves. So I teach the connection practice. It's learning how to identify one's feelings and needs and access heart-brain coherence to be able to teach yourself how to heal yourself so that you seek the wisdom within yourself. So because we used to have this gesture in Shambhala and it went like this. Let me step back. You connect up and then you come out. Connect up and then you come out to the world.
I
So
love
when you
that.
connect to the divine, if I don't meditate on a regular basis, I get a little crazy. You connect to the divine, and you recognize your own divinity, and then you can see that in other people. Take it out to the world, right?
Yeah. You know, I first of all, I'm appreciating everything that you're saying, and thank you for dedicating your life to your music and to your piece. And I really appreciate that. I think one of the great spiritual practices is what you said, learning to see the divine in all. We were just talking about this earlier today, that when we have a problem with somebody, it's actually a problem with a choice they're making or behavior. But if we could always see the divine being, always see I like to say the divine emanation, um, because we all are unique emanations of the one eternal beloved. And that is, to me, very much a pathway to peace. And of course, as we know, peace has to start. We don't have much influence over what countries do, but we have a huge influence over how we treat our family, how we treat our community, the people that we directly relate to. So we have to start with that by seeing the divinity in all the people around us.
Yes, absolutely. And also having an understanding. For example, one of my favorite teachers, the connection practice, we draw a lot from the work of Marshall Rosenberg. He said that every action is a need wanting to be met. Every action is a need wanting to be met. And when we can give those who disagree with us a wide berth for what is the action that they had that was needing to be met, we can offer a little bit more compassion. When we learn to identify our feelings and our needs, and we can identify the feelings and needs of other people, when we can access our heart-brain intelligence and listen to our heart speak, we get closer to a more compassionate understanding. For ourselves, empathy; for others, empathy, and a wonderful way to have some connection.
Well, you and I just discovered something about each other. Marshall was a very important person in my life. I had the good
Wow,
fortune to travel with him, to teach with him, and to produce videos with Marshall. And I can say we were friends before he passed away.
wow,
So,
that's beautiful.
and he's been
That's
a
a man that should have been sainted, right?
absolutely, we were trying to get him the Nobel Peace Prize before he passed away. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
well
so I love
deserved
that
for sure.
you're also a friend and someone providing Marshall's beautiful teachings. Thank you for that.
Yeah, very powerful. I'm working on getting it to NACA, which is the National Association of Campus Activities, because I really feel this work is needed in that age group of the college age kids who are just so lost after suffering through the pandemic and just a lot of confusion at this point in their lives.
Yeah.
So learning this skill, I think that's the thing that I love the most about this skill is it's really allowing you to heal yourself, right? When you can say, I'm sad because my need to be seen and heard was not met, or I'm frustrated because my need for peace and quiet is not met, right? When we can learn the language to identify what we're feeling, what we're needing, and what maybe somebody else is. Every action is a need wanting to be met. But this can be taught, and so I'm working on getting it into the school systems here for the younger kids and into the college age kids. So I'll do concerts and these educational programs that I'm incredibly passionate about.
Bless you. Thank you so much. Well, would you be willing to bless us with a song?
Sure. I'm going to turn on the reverb again. All right, Omar Sharma, how's that sound?
Perfect.
This is a song I wrote called Everything. Well, I'm in the snowfall, I am in the mountain top, in the breath that you take when you wake first thing in the morning. I'm in your baby smile, in that old man's sigh, in the bum on the corner bumming for her next dollar with the worn out eyes. Can you feel it? Don't you know I'm in everything? In the rain that falls, the snow that pours, everything. Everywhere you look, you can see. Just look in the mirror and you'll see me. I am in the hand that you're holding, in the man you're fighting, in the face of your neighbor. Doesn't matter if he's yellow, red, brown, or white. I am in the moon as it's rising, in the stars that are shining, in the sun that is warming the earth while it's spinning, spinning in the sky. Can you feel it? Don't you know I'm in everything? In the rose blooming clouds forming everything. Everywhere you look, you can see. Just look in the mirror and you'll see me. I'm in the tears that you cry, in the darkest night, when you're searching for the answer, only left with a question, still wondering why. I am in everyone you know, I'm in everyone you meet, because the truth is I am in you and you're in me. How about that, y'all? Can you feel it? Don't you know I'm in everything? In the world, in the spiral, everything. Everywhere you look, you can see. Just look in the mirror and you'll see me. Can you feel it? Don't you know I'm in everything? In your mother's life, your father's hands, everything. Everywhere you look, you can see. Just look in the mirror and you'll see me. For the glory of love is in everything. Yeah, the glory of God is in everything.
Oh, beautiful. I'm going to go to gallery view and people are going to twinkle and send you lots of love and appreciation. That was beautiful, Cecilia. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about your time with Pete Seeger. I noticed, of course, many photos of you, and I've seen in your bio that you've actually played music with him and done concerts with him. Um, that's really, I mean, just tell us a story. What was that like for you? And yeah, your experience of being with such an icon.
I was so blessed to know Pete. I had been playing on a radio station called Good News Broadcasting in New York City, and I went on and I had said to the DJ and the man who was, it was sort of like a podcast, right? Or way back in early 20s. And I said, oh, I have this song. I'd really love it to get it to Pete Seeger. And he said, well, I can get it to Pete Seeger. I said, what? So he called Pete. He called Pete right there on the phone. And he was the head of the World Water Rescue Foundation. And his name was Phil Sawyers. And Phil had a slogan that Pete said called, "We need water, not weapons."
There you go.
So they asked me to write a song, "Water, Not Weapons." And so I went home and I wrote that song, right? Like first draft, right? I swear my dad, he had just passed, he was probably downloading it to me. But he said, I want you to write this song. It was Tuesday. And he says, and then I want you to come and sing it on the bandshell at Central Park for the International Peace Vigil in Central
Wow.
Park for Pete.
Wow.
And I was like, what? So I wrote it and I learned it and I got to sing it in Central Park at the bandshell. And then I got to meet Pete, and there's this beautiful photo. We did these peace vigils on 9W in New York City, in New York State. And there's this beautiful photograph of me sitting with Pete on the grass. My sign, my peace, peace on earth sign is on right next to me, and my songbook is there. And Pete was just loving going through my songbook. Here, play this song, play this song, play this song. And he said to me, he says, Cecilia, the world needs to hear your music now more than ever.
Wow.
And I got, I did concerts up in the Hudson Valley, and I'm so frustrated with myself because one time he called me up, he said, Cecilia, this is Pete Seeger. I'm going to help you pack that house. And I accidentally deleted the voicemail, but yeah, we played at NYU for the Love Wins concert for 9/11, and he was such a kind man. I know this is a silly thing to remember about Pete Seeger, but I love sharing this because he was so incredibly humble. We'd be walking in the field or on the side of the road for our peace vigil, and if there was like a piece of trash on the ground, he would just bend over and pick it up and put it in his pocket. He was so sweet and humble, and he lived his life. And so yes, I wrote that song Water Not Weapons, and he got to hear some of my music, and I was blessed by the knowing of him, really. Yeah, he was so incredibly humble and incredibly gracious to many upcoming singer-songwriters. Yeah. And of course, he went through so much with the whole Red Scare and all that, but he stayed true to who he was. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he still with us, or has he passed?
No, he's not. I had the pleasure of performing for his 93rd birthday, and I think he died just a few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he played with Bruce Springsteen at the Lincoln Memorial for Barack Obama's inauguration.
Wow.
He was like 96 years old or something. He's still up there like that.
Wow. Wow.
He's amazing. Yeah.
I'm going to read some of the comments coming in from our audience because they're loving you, of course. Carol Craig says, I saw him in Newport before he died. Eleanor Joy writes, Scott, you have just met and introduced us to Cecilia, and she is clearly another gem in the Global Peace Tribe crown.
Oh, thank you.
Diara writes, I love these stories about him. Carol Craig writes, I saw Pete many times. He played the Newport Folk Festival a lot. Christy said, that was such a fun song. Omashar writes, your joy-filled singing song presence is infectious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dia Therese writes, I'm loving these lyrics and your beautiful energy, Cecilia. Carol writes, beautiful, beautiful song.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, everybody. Wow.
Yeah,
It's lovely.
yeah. I don't know if you're prepared, but the song you just talked about, the song that you wrote inspired by Pete, is that one you could play?
Oh, well, played it in a long time. It's a little bit more political than I usually get at this point, you know.
Okay.
All right, hold on. What are now weapons people need? What are now weapons people want? What are now weapons? Please heed our call. You know what, Scott? I haven't played it in a really long time.
Okay,
I have
that's
so
that.
many other
It was
ones that
a
I'm
crazy
way better at.
It was a crazy spontaneous idea on
Yeah.
my way. So let's go with
Yeah.
the other song that you had planned.
Okay. All right. So actually, how about if I do this one, because it's one of my brand new ones. And
Okay,
my friend
great.
Gary's over here, and he's gonna kill it on the rhythm guitar. And this is a great song for people to sing along. And it's really simple. The lyrics are, or the chorus is, Om, I am. Right? I'm gonna sing. Let me hear you sing Om, and you're going to sing Om. And I'll say it again, Om, and you sing Om, and then I am, okay? And Om Ashar, you'll appreciate this song. It's my brand new song, actually. It's the one that I want to get into dance tunes all around the world, right? It's about meditation. Surrender to the stillness. Surrender to the now. Surrender to the mystery of the somehow. In the silence you'll find answers. In the silence you connect. Shine the light on the darkness. Nothing unreal exists. Feel the bliss, feel the healing. Your smile is revealing. I am. Let me hear you sing. Let go, feel connected to the infinite divine. In the silence, love is speaking. In the stillness, hearts align. Feel the essence you've been seeking. You are a star to show divine. Through the darkness, light is piercing. Through the shadows, truth will rise. Every moment is the guru. See the world through sacred eyes. Let go, feel connected to the infinite divine. I love seeing everybody dancing there. Let me hear you sing, oh, 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 I am, oh. Let go, feel connected to the infinite divine. All right, I'm going to dance with you a little bit. Here we go. Take it away, Garrett. All right, take it down. Here we go. 10,000 suns and moons do shine inside the universe. Aligned your souls, your light, your guiding flame. Eternal truth now proclaim. I am. Let go, feel connected to the infinite divine. Yeah, I love that song.
That was really fun. I'm going to go to gallery view. Let's all give her some more twinkles and appreciations.
And do we get to see Gary?
Yeah, Gary, come on over here.
Yeah, bring Gary
Oh,
up.
yeah. Come on,
You want
Gary.
to see me?
Yeah, look at this guy. He's got a beautiful smile. Come on.
Hey, everybody.
Yay! Great playing, brother.
Uh,
Thank you.
I'll do
Great,
that. I
great.
just hold it. It does the rest.
Did you hear how great it sounded?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, next
Great
time, come
show,
on
guys.
when she does her other song later on in the show, come on back and be on camera with us, Gary.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's an honor, man. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Checks in the post.
Cecilia, thank you so
What's
much.
that?
I was just saying thank you. And I'm going to take people one more time to everybody who's watching on Facebook. Her website is her name, Cecilia with two L's, Cecillia.
No, one L. Cecil, two eyes.
Oh, it's
I know
two
that probably.
eyes.
Yeah, two eyes.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for,
Yeah.
I's and L's all look the same, especially
They
when
do, right? You're right.
yeah, so thank you. And then it's
Thank you.
ST King, Saint King, .com. And that's where you can learn all about her. She is a peace troubadour. And yes, the world does need to hear your music now more than ever. And if you click on her bio, look at all the places that she has played, including a lot of our friends, Institute of Noetic Sciences, that's close by. I've been to the Parliament of World's Religions in Chicago. I probably saw you play there. Um, all over New York City. And then closer to us, Ashland, Oregon. We've got people from Ashland watching right now, Nevada City,
Right.
Grass Valley. I've recently lived there. So,
Oh, Grass Valley. Friends in Grass Valley, yeah.
I have many friends and clients in Grass Valley, absolutely, and Nevada City. Cecilia, thank you so much for being with us. Stick around. We've got a really fun show, and we're going to bring you back on after
All right.
Interfaith Awareness Week. All
That's
right.
great. I'm going to hang out. Listen
right.
in.
Well, we are blessed to have Ashok with us, and Ashok has really become one of our favorite people on the show. He just brings such beauty to everything he does, and I've done this many times before, but I really love what he has on his website. Um, and I say this a lot, or I read it whenever he's here, but I'm going to do it again. Um, the focus of Ashok's daily life centers around his journeys, serving and inspiring others through leading, writing, presenting, and singing, through loving his family, God, and God's creation with devotion, realizing the self through yoga, gaining knowledge and wisdom by continuously learning, admiring nature and different cultures by traveling the world, cherishing every day and being healthy, truthful, and grateful. And finally, his motto, live, love, laugh, learn, lead, and leave a legacy. I just love that because it's if we all had that same goals or our own version of those goals, Ashok. So, and of course, you have all of our friends behind you from the Self-Realization Fellowship lineage, which I grew up with. So it's really quite beautiful. A lot of my friends just were at convocation in Los Angeles. That just happened last week. So welcome back and happy birthday to your daughter. How old is she?
31.
31. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I would love for us to just kind of drop into devotion with you. Of course, if there's anything you want to share about Independence Day or Mother's Ascension or your daughter's birthday, is there anything you'd like to share on any of those themes?
Thank you, Scott and Omashar and Cecilia. You have a beautiful voice, and I loved hearing your songs. There are many common things like NVC. I'm big on NVC and peace, and Gandhi is a role model for me. I would like to sing a prayer it's called Brahma, hymn to Brahma. It's praising our teachers, and that's we sing at Self-Realization Fellowship Temple. And I will sing a chant called "Door of My Heart" that Dara is going to post on chat. Can you hear me okay, Omshar?
You sound great, brother.
Thank you. You're awesome, brother. So do Oms, please sing along with me. Full of bliss, giving joy, transcendent of higher knowledge, the abode, dwell no more, clear as the heaven, known to all as the word that He is pure, permanent, unmoving, the everlasting seer of all, far beyond qualities and thought. Guru, Lord, I bow to Thee. Guru, Lord, I bow to Thee. Guru, Lord, I bow to Thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for Thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for Thee. Will Thou come, just for once come to me. Will Thou come, just for once come to me. Will my days fly away without seeing Thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing Thee, my Lord? Night and day, I look for Thee night and day. Night and day, I look for Thee night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for Thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for Thee. Will Thou come, just for once come to me. Will Thou come, just for once come to me. Will my days fly away without seeing Thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord. Night and day, I look for thee, night and day, night and day, night and day. I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Will thou come, will thou come, just for once come to me. Will thou come, will thou come, just for once come to me. Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day, night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Will thou come, will thou come, just for once come to me. Will thou come, will thou come, just for once come to me. Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day, night and day, night and day, I look for thee, night and day. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. 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 Open wide I keep for thee.
Good. Thank you so much. I thought it would be nice to bring up an image of Paramahansa Yogananda, since clearly he's important to many of us. And he certainly is my master teacher. And, playing that song brings back all the times I've been to Self-Realization Fellowship Lake Shrine in Los Angeles. I lived near there for many, many years and spent a lot of time there. And that was, of course, one of the songs that they would frequently play. And and Cecilia, if you're with us, yeah, you're there. Anything you or Ashok want to share about Yogananda or his lineage that you wish to share? Because we've got a few minutes before we're going to go over to Interfaith Awareness Week, and I'd love to get any of your thoughts.
Go ahead, Cecilia.
Yes, well, I love that song that you performed. I know the song well, and I was grateful to be able to sing it alongside of you. Open my heart, I sing to you. Absolutely. You know, it was Yogananda that actually brought me back to my spiritual foundation when I was just a young woman. I was raised Catholic, and I was blessed to be raised Catholic. I'll never say I'm recovering Catholic. I just don't do that because there was so much of that that I love, the ritual and all of that. But my relationship with Jesus, was the Christ as I have come to understand him through the Ageless Wisdom teachings, was a totally different Jesus than the one that I was learning about. So it was really Yogananda that brought me back to the love of the Christ. And I was so grateful for that. I mean, there he is right in the middle of our lineage of, those are my gurus that every morning I sit and meditate. It's, yeah, Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Jesus Christ, Bhagavan Krishna, Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahasaya, Swami Sri Teshwar, Paramahansa Yogananda, my beloved guru, and Dwal Kul. Yeah, and I've had mystical experiences with Sri Yukteswar, and I really love it. Yogananda brought me back to my relationship to God and my understanding of our divinity. I love, there's quotes that he said where there's so much energy in our pinky to light up the city of Chicago if we just understood our power. And I'm a Kriyaban, and I practice that scientific technique of meditation that I think was such a big shift for me in how I could actually anchor in deeper to my meditation in that silence. Because I've been meditating for over 30 years, but the silence comes so, it's very infrequent, the silence, you know? It's really hard, it can be challenging to get to that place of silence. But boy, when I taste it, when I'm in there and there's no thought in my head, I have this kind of mystical experience around it. And that was my relationship to Yogananda.
And Cecilia, what was that style of meditation you just mentioned?
He teaches that there is behind the closed eyes, and Manok, I hope that there's a meditation technique. One, we are not Oriental in our bodies; we're Occidentals. So I don't feel very comfortable sitting in a yoga pose, but I'm totally okay with sitting with my spine straight, right, in a chair. And that was the other thing, that he gave us the allowance to just be Westerners and learn to be able to meditate. So sitting, with your back straight, your spine straight, your back straight, with your hands at the juncture between your abdomen and your hips, that will bring your arms back. So sitting with straight spine and breathing through the straight spine from the base of your chakra to the crown, the third eye. And then when behind closed eyes, a lot of people don't know this, but if you are meditating, a lot of people will say, I can't meditate because I fall asleep. Or I can't meditate because I get that monkey mind. So some of the scientific techniques is, if behind your closed eyes, your eyes are down, you're naturally going to fall asleep. But if behind your closed eyes, your eyes are straight ahead, you're going to get into that monkey mind. You can't shut off that head. But if you raise your eyes to the point of the third eye, you connect to the pineal gland right away, and it keeps you in the superconscious state. Hypnotists now know that when they hypnotize you, they're like, raise your eyes up to the third eye, put you in a theta state. So that is a better, significant way to sink into a meditation that, I prefer silence in my meditation. A lot of people do have guided meditation, and I'm all for that when they can find the right space. But For me, it's just me and my divine self connecting. But if
Thank
I
you.
don't
Yes.
meditate on a regular basis, I kind of lose my mind.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. And silence is where it's at. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Ashok, what would you like to share?
Yogananda came to the US in late 1800s. He was sent by his guru, Yukteswarji, Yukteswarji, to share the knowledge of East of yoga to the West. So that's why he came and he struggled. It's amazing how one person could make a huge difference for many people in the West. And 60,000 people have attended convocation last week. The teachings, they say the mantras, the meditation techniques, they like to keep it for Kriyabans. I'm also a Kriyaban. There's a lot of teachings. His original teaching was he created Church of All Religions. It was not Self-Realization Fellowship. So I fundamentally believe in names are many, God
I'm
is
not
one.
muted, guys. I'm not muted.
Names are many, God is one. So and that's how whether it is Krishna or Jesus, whomever you want to pray is good.
I think it's appropriate at a time that we're celebrating Interfaith Awareness Week that we also are celebrating Yogananda, because he really was an incredible bridge of different religions. As Ashok said, he came over and he actually met with President Woodrow Wilson, I believe, in 1918, if I recall correctly. And so here is this Indian guru coming to America at a time that, we had no understanding or any perception of India's religions, Hinduism, let alone a guru. Um, and he really created something very, very beautiful. And of course, if you've been to his temples, all the world's great religions are honored. And he truly was an initial ambassador of interfaith awareness. Now, speaking of interfaith awareness, our plan had been, or has been, that supposedly around this time, they're going into their closing ceremony with Ben Bowler and Matthew Fox. And I'm kind of tracking it on Facebook. Um, and it doesn't seem like that's happened yet. And our idea is that when Ben and Matthew are up, we're going to actually head over there and watch. It's kind of a unique attempt that we're making to incorporate our relationship with Interfaith Awareness Week and the Global Peace Tribe. And it's every time I look over there, though, it looks as though well, now it looks like Rianne Eisler is on. So I can't quite tell. Becky Suzik sent me, yeah, that's a recording. So she sent me the link to the page that they're going to live stream it, but I'm looking at the page and I'm not seeing a live stream. So, DR, are you able to watch it? Do you have a sense of what's happening?
Yeah, I'm not logging in on Facebook and finding it either, but let me jump into their Zoom room to see if they've started and I'll jump right back.
Okay, that's a good idea.
I'll be right back.
Thanks. So we may need to do some filler. And certainly if there's anything that any of our audience members want to share about Interfaith Awareness Week, about Yogananda, about what you've experienced tonight with Ashok or Cecilia. Reverend Jeffrey, you might have the latest that's happening with the International Space Federation. You're always providing interesting things. So I'm going to bring you up for a moment. Anything you want to share,
Well,
Jeffrey?
Sure, it's amazing. Of course, the unified physics model is spreading and expanding from all these people doing the work, and of course, you're all looking forward to the show coming up on education, and we're going to have Andrew Freeman here. Wait till you see his work. He is this going to be revolutionizing the whole educational system for children. It's absolutely incredible what he's doing, and he'll be here on the 29th as part of the show we'll be doing on the future of education and what's coming up there. Um, I always like the fact that Nassim Haramein bringing in this deeper understanding of a unified model of physics. And again, by the way, that includes the fact that space is full of energy that we can actually tap into, replacing all other forms of energy. And they've successfully created the technology. Now it's just how are we going to bring it in without, getting blown up and shut down. But the technology for zero point energy is successfully been constructed by this particular group that wants to open source it. So as soon as they can figure out how to get it in there and open source it without having someone shut them down, we're very close to that. And of course, I'm sure other laboratories and things are also because this is the physics of the universe. It's not just here. This is how the universe works, and we can tap into the source that makes everything. Source that creates everything is going to be able to be harnessed by consciousness, because it is consciousness, and we are an evolving consciousness, as we all know. And the new paradigm is going to really, I think, bloom now once we have the unlimited source of energy, which is obviously a big part of what the International Space Federation is looking at, i.e., then we actually will be able to travel and join our galactic friends, because we will, I think they're waiting for us to emerge and be able to be ready to be the telepathic community we can, so we can be part of this galaxy and the universe, and be able to merge with that higher level of consciousness that it's telepathically throughout the universe. So they're just doing marvelous work. Both their scientists are incredible. William Brown, the biologist, is deep into the quantum nature of our own biology. How we are, how the light we are actually communicating instantaneously within our body. So his work is phenomenal. And of course, we had Marshall Lefter here, which the harmonic solution is what we're calling it. And Marshall's work, he has a second issue of the Harmonic Science Alliance, and you can read the papers, or you can go to a little summary that AI will do about the papers. So the second issue of the Harmonic Science Alliance, and of course you have the Harmonic Alliance, which is sort of the spiritual aspect of it, and the Harmonic Science Alliance is more where they're writing papers. People are writing.
Right.
So
Maybe if you could pop those links into the chat box.
I'll be
That'd be great.
delighted to do that, of course. So
Jeffrey,
that's
thank you for the update. It's exciting, isn't it?
oh, totally. And Tesla said it's about energy, frequency, and vibration, but Inez is that it's all about boundary conditions. The universe is continually making boundary conditions. So, and again, even in the plasma, we're plasma boundary conditions of intelligence. So anyhow, wonderful stuff going on there, and I'll put some links into the chat for folks to check that out. And again, big show on the 29th with Andrew Freeman here. It's going to be an incredible story. His work is going to be incredible to see.
Great. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your update. I'm going to give an update until Diara tells me that it's time for us to switch over. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to Interfaith Awareness Week's closing ceremony, where we're going to listen to Ben Bowler and Matthew Fox and Mirabai, all of whom, of course, have been on this show many times. But I have a little bit of an update on the UFO front. David Grush, who's certainly the most significant whistleblower He had top secret clearance. He was on a podcast with Dr. Phil last week. And on the podcast with Dr. Phil, he acknowledged that he has seen cadavers of extraterrestrial beings that were in ships that crashed. He said that we have recovered somewhere between 25 and 75 ships over the 80 years since Roswell, which was at least probably the first significant recovery. Those are amazing numbers. I mean, those are higher than I expected, to be honest. Um, and it's a significant disclosure just continues happening on many levels. And I like what Jeffrey just said. You know, he pointed out something really valuable, which is it's all about raising our vibration. And, you know, we see that when we have John Martin on the show, who, you know, connects with more beings and who connects in his beautiful way. And it's because he raises his vibration. So, many of you probably are connecting with angels or perhaps deceased loved ones or galactic family, and it's all about raising our vibration. And that's what we try to do here on the Awakening World is get tools and practices for how we can raise our vibration and have our own direct experiences. Um, so I'm going to read a few comments that have come in from our audience. Karen S. writes, back in 1986, a friend urged me to read Autobiography of a Yogi, and I'm so glad I did. It was life-changing. Yes, it was. It's one of the truly great books of our group, of our culture, of who we are on the Awakening World, and it is always worth rereading. Eleanor Troy writes, um, uh, oh, well, that's fun. Um, Eleanor Troy suggesting maybe some of our family members to share gratitude and miracles from their days outside of GPT. Absolutely. Um, okay, so DR tells me that they're ready. So I'm going to just take a look and refresh the page to make sure that I'm getting a live stream, and I am. And I see Kurt Johnson. So I'm going to go to Interfaith Awareness Week, everybody. Let me know if this plays properly. We hope it does. Oops. That's not what I meant to show. You've already seen that.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Let's try again. Here's Kurt.
Wrote the foreword to Wayne Teasdale's original book on discovering the universal spirituality in the world's religions. And with the foreword by Matthew Fox, who, as I said, was one of the namers of the paradigm with his term, deep ecumenism.
And a full screen.
Afterward, by Colorado's own and integral philosopher Ken Wilber, to the mystical and the deep connection of everything, which is really what inner spirituality is about. And this is really, really close to Colorado's history, I think, as many of you know so well, because one of the foundations for all of this work was headed by Father Thomas Keating out of the St. Benedict's Abbey in Snowmass, where he hosted for several decades what became known as the Snowmass Interreligious Dialogues. And from those meetings came two really iconic and worldly important concepts. One that was published in his book, The Common Heart, which was the 9 points of agreement among the world's religions. Remember, like I said, quoting Hans Kung, when Hans Kung said at the founding of the United Nations, there can be no peace among the nations until there is peace among the religions. So that document, the 9 points of agreement among the world's religions, was truly foundational, published in the book from the Snowmass Dialogues in 2007, entitled The Common Heart. And from the 9 points of agreement among the world's religions, then came Wayne Teasdale's 9 elements of a universal spirituality. And actually what Wayne was answering when he wrote the 9 elements was, if all of the world's religions agreed on the 9 points of agreement about what religion's really about with regard to its shared values, then how would we behave? And so the 9 elements of the universal spirituality are really all about behavior. Obviously, we're behaving differently than how we see people when we turn on the TV and we see all of this conflict and violence. But this is really the bottom line, as you all know, is how do we go from this conflictual nature that's such a part of our history, and I'll be saying more about that in a moment, to the deeper part of our values, which is championed by all the world's religions, which have to do with love and care and compassion, co-creativity, reciprocity, mutuality, and partnership. If we don't get there, we're going to have a perilous future. If we actually could get there, this world could actually be a paradise. So the 2 things that we really want to explore just a bit as I go through spending 15, 20 minutes with you are what was the original vision of the interspiritual pioneers, and what could we say turned out a bit differently than they expected. Like when we turn on our TV today, we don't exactly see that world of harmony and that they were working toward and pointing toward. So we really want to ask, what is it that they didn't expect? And given that, we also want to take a look at what are the directions that we want to go now. Because since the publication of these volumes, so many of these 120 featured authors in the books have been meeting regularly. And this is what we've been talking about. Where is it that we want to go from here to get to the types of shared values that we're actually talking about? So what the original founders of interspirituality expected, and I think what many of you expected, particularly people in my age group, we thought that when we had gone through the 70s and the 80s, values and sharing and caring and all of those values that are really the foundation of the world's religions. And from that, we could have a real meaningful dialogue and even rapprochement among all of the great isms of the world. And I think many of you know when you read books like The Cultural Creatives or Paul Hawken's book on thousands and thousands of organizations, the world doing good work in the world, we really thought that we were getting there. Now, what wasn't expected were really 3 things, and we really mentioned these in the volumes. That the first thing that was not expected was the disaffiliation from the world's religions themselves, a great leaving of the religions by so many thousands and millions around the world. Even though those establishments themselves stayed in place, then you actually had all of their buildings empty and people no longer really referring to those core values that were a part of those great isms. So not only did disaffiliation happen, but as you know, particularly for young people, there's really no way that they can quickly access the heritage of these deep values that were a part of the world's religions. And instead, as I'll say more about in a moment, that's been replaced by so much misinformation, disinformation, negativity, and all kinds of darkness that really is all over the internet and social media. Now, the other thing that they didn't expect was the rise of nationalist populism around the world and the move away from democracy and toward authoritarianism based on leaders, as Pope Leo said recently, really tyrants, who are using conflict and pitting one group against another and one nation against another really to enrich themselves or to gain their own political or ego-driven narcissistic goals. So the resurgence around the world of what was called nationalist populism, which of course we see in the United States with Christian nationalism and us against them and all of that, that was really very much not anticipated by the interspiritual pioneers. Now, the third thing that they didn't expect, which is huge, and that is what we refer to now, and you're all familiar with it, is the disinformation and misinformation era. Once the internet and social media really took over our attention, and we really moved from print media to screen media, which was far less reflective. We went from print media where people were thinking, they were being reflective, they were really analyzing, and they were talking about facts and what was meaningful, to all kinds of crazy stuff on the internet, so much of which is not true, misinformation, disinformation, and conspiracy theories. And this actually is such a problem that a group of 100 sociologists last year called this an evolutionary catastrophe. And what they mean by an evolutionary catastrophe, by science's definition, is something that so upsets the norm that you really have no idea how you would get back to that normal again. And so we're really in that situation now, which is really so difficult. Turned out to be quite a bit different than what the interspiritual pioneers, where they thought we were going. So in the many meetings that we're having now, as we really take a look at all this and we ask the question, what is ours to do as global interfaith leaders, global interspiritual leaders? And it's interesting, I think Pope Leo is doing such an amazing job with regard to these values, is we really have defined 4 things that we really think are the message of the future if we're going to actually have a thriving future and a future that could really serve everybody in this world. Now, the first one is the message of interfaith and interspirituality itself. And that is simply, as I said at the beginning, the relationship of all of the world's wisdom traditions and their foundational sets of values with regard to love and care, sharing, partnership, co-creativity, reciprocity, mutuality. Those themes, which are at the heart of the world's religions in the first place, are really the first drum that we have to continue beating. The next drum that we have to continue beating, we call it all things eco. All things that have to do with eco and eco-spirituality. Everything about conventional environmental concern, climate change, and so on, but also the spiritual understanding of our relationship to nature, our reciprocity with nature, what was understood by first peoples and what in that traditions are called the original instructions of living in harmony with nature. And also this has to do with everything that refers to Mother Earth and Mother Gaia, and notice that I'm bringing the feminine in there because this really has to do with the message of the divine feminine and the way of caring and the way of caring about the world. So everything, all things eco, that's the other thing that we have to continue to have in our messaging. The third thing that's important in our messaging, and I'm sure you're all familiar with this from your own personal experiences, attention to the subtle realms, attentions to the deeper parts of our nature. And not only as that's understood by spirituality and all of the mystical traditions, but also how it's understood by modern science and modern physics in the sense of holographic principles, non-locality, entanglement, all of those fancy words that have to do with the profound interconnection of everything in the cosmos and who we are, and our attention to the subtle relationships we have with ourselves and with others. The fourth dimension and the fourth drum that we have to continue to beat, we're defining now, is really how we move from domination consciousness and domination culture, which is exactly what runs the world, politics, business, all of these things are domination hierarchies, which are win-lose. Someone comes out on top, someone comes out on the bottom. We have to move from domination consciousness and domination culture to partnership consciousness and partnership culture. Those would be cultures that would be based in the foundational principles of the world's religions. And I think you know one of the great feminine voices in the world, Rihanna Eisler, has really been the person who's been pioneering this understanding of what's called the domination to partnership spectrum. And it's really the bottom line of everything that's not right with the world right now. If we can't move from domination hierarchies to partnership in culture at all levels, and it's such a huge dream, it's way out there, but that's just where we would have to get if we were not only going to survive, but also to thrive. Now, the last thing I'll say, because I see I really have about 4 minutes left here, I'm going to harken back to a meeting that I was able to attend just before COVID with His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Dharamsala in India, with myself and a number of other, global interfaith leaders who are also scientists. I think my PhD is in evolution, and my background is 25 years at the American Museum of Natural History and Evolution and Ecology. And this meeting with the Dalai Lama was about the future of science for humanity and spirituality for humanity. And what we noted is that in 2015, in mainstream science, there was a redefinition of evolution by natural selection. I think all of you know that Darwin's theory originally got coined as survival of the fittest, and that the measure of fitness was who was the best competitor, whose dominance hierarchy could win out. And this was because science had not really had a way to study groups. Now, when we got supercomputers and lots of other methodologies and studied how groups make decisions, we found out that groups don't make selfish decisions, but groups make decisions for the good of the whole. So the redefinition of natural selection and evolution that happened around 2015 in books from Yale and Templeton and many, many others was that partnership and collaboration and cooperation are just as important to natural selection as competition. In fact, competition happens at the most primitive levels of evolution, and as things complexify, the definition of fitness changes from competition to cooperation. So this was huge, and that led to the recognition, as the Dalai Lama said there and the scientists there, that actually for the first time potentially in history, the view of science of moving toward a world that works for all and the world of the world's religions moving toward a world that works for all are really on the same track. And what they concluded then was that in a global future, if we could have the type of future that we're talking about here, it would be science's job to tell us how evolution works. Because if we're living as a species on this planet and we're living in a way that's not in tune with how evolutionary process actually works, we're simply going to dead end. And of course, then what religions and the wisdom traditions can bring to that is the statements about values and behavior that guide us toward living in that way that could bring us to that future that we're talking about, that is about reciprocity, mutuality, co-creativity, love, care, and all of those things. So I've been watching the clock in the background. We're just right now at about 20 minutes. And so I just want to say it's been absolutely wonderful to be here with you. I hope you'll take a look at these books, Interspirituality, the Heritage, Interspirituality, the Future. I just want to commend you for everything that you're doing in your work. We're all dreaming the same dream. We're all dreaming and sharing those same values together. So I hope the things that I've shared, and particularly the points that I've talked about in the sense of what wasn't expected, what appears to have gone a bit wrong and put us in kind of the mess we're in today, but the direction that we can go in the future, which is so consistent with exactly the theme that you're talking about this month, and the themes that, those 4 themes I talked about that could get us to that world. So thank you very much for having me. Pardon me while I'm going to have to look away to find the button to stop recording, but it's been wonderful to spend this 20 minutes with you, and thank you so much.
So Ben, you're here. Let me just introduce Ben quickly. Ben Bowler is really an extraordinary leader for peace and understanding. He lives in Australia. He travels the world regularly. I think his suitcase is on the edge of his bed. And he just came back a few days ago from receiving the award for oneness from the Interfaith Church at the United Nations. And he's a champion. And I want to thank Kurt, who is here tonight as well, for his exposition. And you take it away, Ben. I know you have a wonderful program planned for us.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ruth. And thank you, Kurt. It's wonderful to be here in Interfaith Awareness Week. What an important platform. I understand it's 10 years that we've been running this platform for Interfaith Awareness Week. So congratulations to everybody involved. And it's an honor to be here. Ruth, I caught the last half of the Act 1 of the musical. How wonderful to see the arts being used in such a creative way to continue to advance this vital, important work. So congratulations to you and everybody involved there. I'm going to be hosting a conversation with two absolute luminaries of the interspiritual paradigm, legends, in fact, and that is Mirabai Starr and Matthew Fox. So I'm going to go ahead and do little introductions for Mirabai and Matthew as we bring them up. And we're going to be talking a little bit. Hi, Mirabai, good to see you. We're going to be talking a little bit about what we just heard from Kurt Johnson, laying out the whole kind of landscape. Father Matthew Fox, it's good to see you. Wonderful to have you here with us. Neither of you really need an introduction, but let me do the formals. It is a great joy to welcome Matthew Fox, theologian, spiritual teacher, activist, and one of the great pioneering voices of creation spirituality. For more than 5 decades, Matthew has invited us to rediscover the sacredness of creation, the wisdom of the mystics, and our responsibility to bring spirituality out of the sanctuary and into the great challenges of our time. So we welcome you, Matthew Fox. Let me do a quick introduction for Mirabai Starr as well. Mirabai is an author, teacher, translator of the mystics, and one of the most beautiful contemporary voices of the interspiritual movement. Mirabai has devoted her life to exploring the great mystical traditions, not as competing paths, but as different doorways into the same sacred mystery. Both of these luminaries, we could go on for forever talking about their accomplishment and their work, their written work and their contributions. But I think we want to dive in to the conversation. So let me start by saying, welcome, Mirabai and Matthew.
Thank you, Ben, and congratulations to you for the very much deserved recognition you've been receiving.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you again, Mirabai. And
You too, Matthew.
So let's dive into it. I think, Kurt Johnson just really laid out there what's at stake. When we look at the heritage, the history of the interspiritual movement, which is many-sided, and there's no one kind of view, or it's not a like a homogeneous kind of reality. The interspiritual paradigm is something that we're all going to have different takes on. But I think what Kurt did lay out there is that what's at stake about continuing to evolve towards unity and wholeness in our spiritual perspectives is the difference between a perilous future or paradise. And so I think that, we really get a bit of a sense of what's on the table here. The other thing he laid out were the 4 different kind of general areas of the work, being the interfaith, interspiritual dynamic, which we're exploring here today, the ecological dimension with everything that holds, including a lot of the sacred feminine, that both of you have been leaders in that field. And then the subtle realms, which, when I read your introductions, the mystical dimension is something that both Mirabai and Matthew have been pioneers in. And then finally, from domination hierarchies to partnership. So there's a lot to unpack there. But maybe let's start with you, Mirabai, as we reflect on the message from Kurt before we get into a deeper discussion about where we're coming from and where we're going to. What stood out to you, Mirabai, and what would you like to sort of offer us by way of reflection on what we just saw?
First, I have to say, to be with Matthew Fox is such a joy and a privilege. I know he's not on the screen right now, but oh, there you are. Matthew and I met many years ago, and the minute we met, it was like, oh, it was just such a recognition of souls. So it is and we've done a lot of work together since then, teaching and writing. So it's quite an honor to be in conversation with him, and I feel daunted by even being put in the same little gallery of squares here. I think what stood out for me, surprise, is that the voice of the feminine is needed now more than ever. And I really feel that the heart of the interspiritual paradigm is a feminine heart, that Brother Wayne's interspiritual or mystical heart is the heart of the feminine. What I mean by that is all of these values that, by the way, are in all of us, people of all genders, and speaking to people of all genders. The values of loving kindness, of cooperation, of relationality, of connectedness to the earth, of embodiment. All of these values are kind of antithetical to what we see in the rising religious nationalism and authoritarianism all over the world. You know, these sort of polar opposite values need to be emphasized. I don't think we need more arguments for why the interspiritual paradigm is superior to the more authoritarian or orthodox versions that might be being asserted. I think what we need is more deep, humble, heart-centered listening. Not that the feminine is all about receptivity and loving kindness. She's also the voice of fierce truth-telling. Fierce truth-telling. And that too is needed now more than ever.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mirabai. Let's bring Matthew in for his opening, maybe reflections on what Mirabai has shared and the broader video we just saw from Kurt Johnson.
Well, I very much delight in what Mirabai just said about the divine feminine. That there's no question that patriarchy, which is a way of seeing the world in terms of dualisms and power over, needs to yield to the healthy masculine, which does not see the world that way, and to the wisdom, and wisdom is a feminine term the world over, that welcomes the whole. And that leads us to the point that that was made by Kurt about the role of science, I think. Because today we're meeting at this amazing time. Yes, there's a lot of negativity going on in many respects, but also we are being given a new view of the universe. Our Hubble telescope is passing these pictures on to us daily, if you will. But we're learning so much more about the vastness of the universe and the specialness of our Earth, of Mother Earth. Just today on NPR radio, I was driving and I heard the scientist say, you know, he said, and he gave all these numbers about how many Earth-like planets there may be in the universe. But he said, so far, we've not heard from any of them. And he said, what I can say as a scientist is this: either we are alone in the universe, or we are very, very rare. Now, either of those things should stun all of us into amazement, what Rabbi Heschel called the radical amazement and awe, that is the beginning of wisdom and is the beginning of our mystical lives, that we're all invited to the table here. And to realize that the universe is over 2 trillion galaxies big, each with hundreds of billions of stars and millions and billions of planets, is astounding. And it should open all our minds and hearts up. And I want to make one more connection to Kurt's work about the emphasis on science. And he, as he said, he himself comes out of science. But that science, I think, is here to among other things, to ignite awe in us, because we're at this moment of a new cosmology. And there are lessons even in science that parallel the teachings of compassion and behavior, compassionate behavior, that are at the heart of all the religions of the world. And the key is the word interdependence or interconnectivity, because that's really the meaning of compassion. Compassion is acting out of our common joy and our common suffering. And that's what we celebrate in worship, whatever tradition you come from. And that's what we honor in our joining hands and arms and feet to protest. Our deep yes and our deep no. This is what mystical life is all about. This is what healthy religion is all about. And the fact that science is now on board, because compassion is that capacity to act out of interdependence. And interdependence is now being named anew as a law of the universe by science. But this is the key of all religious understanding, spiritual understanding, I think, of our capacity for compassion, which in the Jewish tradition, compassion is the secret name for God. And in Luke's gospel, in the Christian tradition, Jesus says, be you compassionate as your creator in heaven is compassionate. So our capacity to imitate the divine, and of course the Dalai Lama says, we can do away with all religion, but we can't do away with compassion, which is my religion, he said. But I think compassion is at the heart of all religions. And now we have science on board, and the potential for this marriage is untold.
Matthew, thank you. There's a lot in there. There's a lot in there for us to digest. I want to come back to this beautiful convergence of the higher domains of science, evolutionary biology, cosmology, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, which really are lining up with the higher dimensions or the deeper dimensions of our mystical experience. And yes, that's a very positive, emergent reality that you've identified. And we want to maybe come back to that. But Mirabai, I want to circle back to you about something you brought in around Christian nationalism. And it's not just Christian nationalism in one country. There is these rising ideologies around the world, which are a different kind of marriage to what Matthew was just talking about, which is a marriage of nationalism and fundamentalist religion. And I think if I heard you correctly, you're saying we as the interspiritual members of the interspiritual paradigm cannot be out there saying, well, we've got a better version of what you've got and another kind of sort of domination, hierarchical narrative. So I want to go deeper into that. How shall we be with our brothers and sisters, whether they're Hindu nationalism in India, whether it's Buddhist nationalism in Myanmar, whether it's Christian nationalism in America? How can we better listen, and how can we better respond to the rise when we see nationalism wed to religious fundamentalism? What is the highest possible response?
You know, it's said that the mystics of all spiritual traditions have much more in common with one another than the mystics and the fundamentalists of any single religion do. And that has to do with this path of the heart that you're alluding to. I mean, the trick for me is not to speak louder, but to listen more deeply and to risk in the listening a kind of conversion of the heart. So I don't plan on being converted to Christian nationalism, and I will be protecting my heart against anyone who's trying to convince me of that line of reasoning. But what I do know about the interspiritual path, which is a little different than the interfaith dialogue, which is a practice that I have the deepest regard for, where people of different faith traditions, kind of like the fashion show we were just seeing, are listening respectfully to each other, to what each other love most and value most about their own traditions, listening with humility, building tolerance. For me, the interspiritual path isn't about tolerating. It's about opening our hearts so radically that we dare to be fundamentally transformed by our encounter with the other. Now, that's easier to say when you're speaking about a mystical Jew and a Sufi, for instance. Like, yes, I will chant the names of the 99 beautiful names of Allah with you, and then you come to my Shabbat service on Friday, and we'll break bread together, and we will allow each other to I will allow you to be who you are and see if we can meet in a place where there is all othering dissolves. But when we're speaking about people who would like to see us eradicated from the face of the earth, I mean, I'm pretty sure that most Christian nationalists, when they look at me as a Jewish woman by birth who has Sufi initiation and Buddhist practice and a Hindu guru and a deep love of the Christian mystics. In fact, I was recently baptized by Jim Finley. Matthew was there. Then, don't want me at the table. So how do I open my heart to someone who would rather that I just shut the heck up and disappear? I mean, I guess I'm answering your question with another question, Ben, but it doesn't scare me. Okay, I know that these times are so urgent that I must listen, even to the seemingly most radical other. My new version of God of Love, a book that I wrote years ago that's coming out, has a foreword by Greg Boyle, Father Greg Boyle. And I love Greg's response to all of it, which is there is no other, there is no them, there is only us. There are no evil people, there are only hurt people. And so I guess as a grief guide, which I also am, and as a mom, I would look for the hurt first.
It's a beautiful space of response, Mirabai. Thank you for sharing that. I think there's a lot more attributed to psychology in people's spirituality and religious viewpoints than often we're aware of, and the wounded child that we can see playing out on the global scale. So we're kind of traversing this space, Matthew, from the heritage to the future, but we're right here in the now. And so in the now, we are dealing with this almost peerless optimism of what's possible with all these things rising together, the mystical traditions that meet each other in that space that you two have been pioneering for half a century, and that there's so many leaders and speakers and mystics that point that way forward. And now you're bringing in science and what's possible when the science meets the mystical journey, and that is just absolutely stunning. It's an invitation into wholeness at a whole new order. But at the same time, we're traversing the political currents of now. I think Kurt referenced Pope Leo saying the world is run by it wasn't thugs, but it was something akin to that. And so, what would be your kind of take on what is a spiritual response to that particular now that we are meeting the moment, Matthew, with the incredible invitation to an unprecedented adventure, while at the same time traversing these very deep, challenging currents of tribalism, us versus them, our group, our ethnic group, our religious tradition, and keep everybody else out, which we're facing literally all over the planet right now.
Well, I very much appreciate what Mirabai just said and how she ended, quoting her priest friend, that they're only hurt people, because psychologists looking at fascism, which is organized sadism, or what Susan Sontag called institutionalized violence, what they invariably find, like Eric Fromm is explicit about this, because he studied, having come out of the Holocaust and being Jewish, he studied where does all this hatred come from. But he's not alone, but he was one of the pioneers. But he said fascism comes from self-hatred. And that has been reaffirmed by many other thoughtful examiners of human nature since him. Self-hatred. And so we have to ask, what are the forces in culture that create self-hatred? And this is also, I think, where injustice, where the sociological and the psychological meet. That injustice can create a circumstance where people hate themselves and therefore hate others. Or despair comes in here too. Thomas Aquinas says that despair is the most dangerous of all sins, that injustice is the worst. it affects the most. But that when you're in despair, you don't care about yourself, and therefore you don't care about anybody else. And there is a growing rise of despair. Indeed, just this past week, there was a brilliant conversation with Arthur Brooks about, and he talked about how depression has tripled in the last 15 years in America, tripled. And especially among young people, and especially among young people who are married to the social media. And I was glad, again, to hear Kurt bring that topic up too, how this new invention, and that's what it is playing havoc on our souls, actually. And again, in terms of medicine, what do we do when people are carrying self-hatred around in them and therefore projecting it onto others? And I'd like to return to a earlier point that Mirabai made about when she said that the divine feminine is fierce. The tradition of the Black Madonna in the West, and parallel traditions in the East, point out that the feminine, as Mirabai was saying, can be very fierce. And fierce about falsehood and lies, as well as about murder and hatred projected. So there is a resurgence today in the West, I think, of the archetype of the Black Madonna. And there's a wonderful book coming out this fall about it. And the Black Madonna carries this kind of energy, both the energy of compassion and of truth and a fierce commitment to both, but also standing up to, saying no to folly, to the opposite of wisdom, which is folly. And of course, hating each other is folly. Again, science is on board, as you've been saying, because evolution is demonstrating that cooperation is more important than competition in our having arrived and hung around this long. But I think one meditation that I find very useful is to meditate on all of these other two-legged ones, our cousins, the Neanderthal, the Denisons, and we're finding, I think we found 15 others now. And what they all have in common is they're extinct. That extinction is a real possibility for Homo sapiens. There's no guarantee. We've been here about 300,000 years, and we're not acting wisely at all. And so the whole interfaith movement, I think, is a sign of hope, and the movement of return of the divine feminine and women's rights, but also to shake up what we mean by masculinity. All that is an integral package. And what I find as medicine, frankly, is the mystics. I've just finished a book on John of the Cross, and Mirabai gifted me with a beautiful foreword to it. She's written about John of the Cross too. But one of the things I really was struck by in rediscovering him and reinterpreting him is how important the via positiva was to him when he was in prison, dying, being tortured daily by his own brothers, and losing weight and everything. He turned to imagining the Song of Songs, which he was forbidden to read. So he created his own Song of Songs. And the Song of Songs is a love poem. It is about the sensual and the physical and the emotional and the spiritual dimensions of love. And that's why his favorite name for God was my beloved, the beloved, which is a very Sufi name for the divine. And of course, his mother had Moorish background, so he had that in going for him too. But the point is that you fill yourself up with love, however your imagination can bring it in. And that is how you banish self-hatred. And Jesus, who is so down to earth, said it in one sentence: love others as you love yourself. What he's saying is, if you don't love yourself, that's the pathway to hatred. And that's what a lot of these political movements today are about. They are gathering people to hate the other. And this is why the mystical affirmation of our non-duality, of our not being separate, and the scientific affirmation, 30 minutes after you're in a room with somebody, you're breathing their air, you're breathing their breath. So, hey, this is just built into nature that we're already community. We're already part of one another. And so it shouldn't be that much of a struggle to discover anew that that love is what makes things go around, as Dante said. It even makes the stars go around and the universe go around. So we have these teachings from our wisdom traditions that really need to be we're going to say heralded and spoken loudly today. And I think this is why the return of the mystics, which Mirabai has been a wonderful champion of, and which I've been able to work on too, is so important, because people are saying, oh, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. Well, if you're spiritual, then you've got to know the mystics, because that's what they were too. And that's why so many got in trouble with their own religions, because they put the love first. And Jesus was one of those.
Oh my gosh. Matthew, thank you. Thank you. Could just listen to that fountain of wisdom coming through. And I do really deeply appreciate how you've reframed a lot of the challenges that we're facing in the world as originating as a kind of self-contempt, self-hatred, and then the despair, which then follows in the way we treat not just each other, but the way we treat life, all of life, as a result of that our own inner judgments. There's a lot there, of course, to explore. But I think Return of the Mystics seems to be the space that the two of you are holding. I know, Mirabai, I've seen you talk about your work with St. John of the Cross earlier as well. And just seems to me that the medicine that you are pointing us towards, both of you, is this plethora, this endless smorgasbord of spiritual traditions, mystical traditions, going back tens of thousands of years to indigenous wisdom traditions, all the way through to modern mystics like you two. There really is no end to what we can draw upon. So maybe as we turn now to look at the future with an optimistic and a positive and a sort of spiritual hope and confidence, maybe Mirabai, you can share with us, what are you seeing as your own personal growing edge of what's next in calling you, but also what would you share with the global community as things of highest value in exploring the mystical resources that are available to us for personal transformation and also ultimately for world transformation?
Well, thanks for that question, Ben. I would say one of the hallmarks of the mystical way is paradox. A mystic has a lot of tolerance. I'll bring that word back in a positive way, for ambiguity, for seemingly contradictory propositions, creating a synthetic or truer truth. And so I feel like I am embodying a paradox right now on my own path. I've been on a spiritual path for 50 years. I'm 65 now, in which I am busy dismantling religiosity, institutionalized thinking, hierarchical a hierarchical or patriarchal paradigm. And at the same time, I am madly in love with the mystics and the teachings of the mystics across the world's great spiritual traditions. And I am mining those jewels. I am gathering those seeds, really, and planting them as fast as I can and watering them the best I can in community, not solo. The other thing I want to say that those of you who are listening might consider, I think that there's a resonance in this interfaith community here with this, is that I see three ways to walk an interspiritual path. At least there are many more, but I'm going to name the three main ones as I see them right now. One is to be rooted in a single faith tradition with a heart and a mind that are open to the beauty of all the great wisdom traditions. So you stay rooted in that ground that you've cultivated with such love. You don't have to leave. It's right there. That's one way. Another way is to what Matthew Wright called multiple religious belonging, to have 2 or 3 deep spiritual paths and to walk them all, to walk all of those paths with in as harmonious a way as you can. And you can. The third way, which I think is more my way, having grown up in the counterculture of the 1970s in Taos, New Mexico, is more maybe would be called the spiritual but not religious. But even that is a misnomer in the sense that, so I do not plant myself in any single or even 2 or 3 traditions as my home base. I can't. I am temperamentally unsuited to picking 1 or even 2 or 3. My heart maintains a porousness that I value. I can't seem to live any other way. And I think a lot of people are that way. I think especially younger people these days are, I mean, yes, there are people are returning to religion statistically. I hear the research, but I think that a lot of people are not temperamentally suited for religion and for any kind of exclusive membership, even in a spacious membership. So that, I think, is another way to walk an interspiritual path, to be open to the beauty and power and wisdom of the world's great spiritual traditions. We don't have to throw those babies out with the bathwater. And yet, I think a lot of people are not at home in a religious context, particularly, and yet are deeply mystical beings.
I have a quick follow-up question for you, Mirabai, about the third group in particular. So the third group in particular that are not rooted in one religion and open to a global perspective, or embodying a multiple belonging in 2 or 3 religious traditions. But the third group
community. You're going to say community, aren't you?
No, I actually have more of a concern. More of a concern is there a challenge around superficiality with some of the spiritual but not religious, take that ceremony with this and a bit of this and a bit of that, and then there's nothing really like there ultimately.
Yeah, I thought that was mostly what people ask me is that question, or what about community? Because that's one thing that religion gives us so beautifully, is a sense of community and belonging. I had the great fortune of spending time with Father Thomas Keating in the last 10 years of his life. And he would ask that question, like, of all of us who were, right, Kurt? Those of us who were championing this interspiritual paradigm, it's all well and good, and maybe you guys are going deep, but a lot of people will not. Cafeteria Catholicism was one of those words, or superficial. I write about this a lot, Ben, and y'all, a lot, and I've spoken about it a lot. So how do I distill it here? I'm not worried about that. I am not worried about that. It is so worth it. And I believe in us. I believe in our capacity, like bees, to know where the nectar is in the garden and to drink it, not only for our own nourishment, but to propagate, to cross-pollinate, and to be instruments of peace in this world. I don't see a lot of selfish interspiritual people who are just taking the little bits that they want for their own benefit and not going deep. What is that horrible analogy of trying to get to water by digging many shallow wells? Bullshit. Sorry. I believe in us. And when we encounter truth, it awakens our heart. It awakens bodhicitta, as they say in Buddhism, the awakened heart. And we cannot not go deep. I've been on this interspiritual path since I was 15, and I have gone more deeply across multiple spiritual spaces than I ever could have in my beautiful home tradition of Judaism, where on Yom Kippur, for instance, it's such a deep and powerful and transformational spiritual practice. But if that was all I had, I would be impoverished. So I believe in our capacity to go deep, Ben.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Mirabai. I'm with you. I think when people share, taste a little different things, they're going to find what they're calling them forward. It was also 25 years ago, Matthew, that you, speaking about wells, had written the book, One River, Many Wells, which laid a lot of this out. But 25 years on from the publication of that landmark work, what do you see as your own kind of evolving edge, Father Matthew Fox? And I suppose as we begin to close this session, what are you pointing us towards? You've already mentioned some things, I think, in this dialogue, but what else would you be pointing us towards as of being of high value right now for this community and for the greater world?
Well, when I was silenced and 3 years later expelled from the Dominican Order, which I'd been a member of 34 years by the previous papacy, not Pope Francis, but two papacies before him, I became an Episcopalian because I truly love liturgy and worship, and I think that ritual is a very important part of building community, and it's at the essence of religion. In fact, Malidome Some, the spiritual teacher from Africa, who was sent to America by his elders to teach us ritual, he used to say there is no community without ritual. And so, since becoming an Episcopalian 30 years ago, I became an Episcopalian to work with young people from Sheffield, England, who at the time were taking the new postmodern art forms of DJ and VJ and rap and rave and bringing it into the church, into liturgy. And I felt that was very powerful. That another thing Malidome Some teaches is that when a culture loses spirituality, only the young can bring it back. And the fact that the young were devising this new language and bringing it to worship truly interested me. I just finished my book on the reinvention of work. The last chapter was on reinventing ritual and liturgy, and I talked there about bringing the body back. And so the whole idea of dancing, which is the ancient way to pray, I've been blessed by praying a lot with indigenous people, and that's the ancient way to pray. And it affects all 7 chakras, not just the head about what you believe or what you think or what you're being preached to about or what you're reading from a sacred text. So I think that the Cosmic Mass, which is what we've devised over these 30 years, we've done over 125 of them in many places in North America, including at the World Parliament of Religions in Toronto and Chicago, and before that in Salt Lake City. I have seen such powerful results of it, such powerful results. And all kinds of people come. Talk about deep ecumenism, interfaith. Buddhists come. In fact, at the Toronto World Parliament, Buddhist monks were there in their orange robes. And Muslims come. And Christians of all denominations and Jewish people. We had one mass, the theme was the Kabbalah. And after 9/11, we had a mass of the Rumi, and we invited an imam to come and to do the little teaching with us. So, and even atheists come. I did a mass for 1,000 people at Sounds True retreat. They have an annual retreat up in the mountains of Colorado every year, and they invited us to do the mass. And afterwards, a woman came up. She said, "I'm an atheist. I'm a fierce atheist. I'm such a fierce atheist that when I walk down the street and there's a church, I cross the street to go by the church." But she said, something happened to me tonight. And she hit her heart like this, hit her chest and said, when we did the grieving, because grieving is a big part of the Mass, we get down on all 6s and we grieve. Grieving is so important. And especially at this time, everyone is grieving, whether they know it or not, about what's happening to the earth today. But she said, when we did that, she said, something shifted inside of me. By the time communion came along, she said, I had to have some. I was hungry for it. My whole life was changed tonight, she said. I don't know what's ahead for me. But my point is that that ritual using contemporary art forms is capable of deep ecumenism and interfaith and bringing people together. It's absolutely intrinsic in human nature to celebrate and to grieve. And that's what good religion does. And celebration is about thank you. As Meister Eckhart said, if the only prayer you're saying in your whole life is thank you, that would suffice. So that's the via positiva. And via negativa is grieving. And the via creativa is the sharing of bread and wine. And the via transformativa is a strong dance that we do at the end to prepare yourself for your prophetic work, your warrior work that is ahead, because there are serious battles that we need to engage in. So we follow the four paths of spirituality in the Mass, and I just tell you, now what's interesting to me is that Pope Leo lately has come out very much in favor of rave as a practice of festivity. He's shown up at many rave events because there's a priest, 57 years old, from Portugal, who is a DJ, a disc jockey, and he does these outdoor raves. But often like he did one in Lisbon, the first one that I saw was televised, and the Pope showed up on the big screen that was hung on the cathedral, an ancient cathedral in Lisbon. And but everyone's dancing, etc. And what we've done, I intend to write the Pope very soon about how we've brought rave into the church, not just doing it outside the church, to generate new energy in the tradition of Western liturgy. And I just think this is extremely important because it's in ritual that you hear the new creation story and it's set in a sacred context. This ritual is the indigenous way of teaching the big things, our relationship, wisdom, and our place in creation, the sacredness of creation. And so it's been thoroughly maligned, ritual has, by the modern era, because we all got in our heads because we were so happy we learned how to read and write, and we have printing presses and all that stuff. That's behind us. Using this media technology and art form, I'm speaking from experience. Over 130 of these masses, and things happen. People shift, like that atheist lady, but all kinds of people. And so the potential of ritual, first of all, is vast, but secondly, is absolutely necessary. I believe what Melodrome said. There is no community without ritual. And if we're lacking community, which we sure are today, everywhere, the problem is we're lacking ritual that's vivacious and alive and real. And so I speak with passion there. And just one other point is I started with young people, 30-year-old and 31-year-old, a new kind of order called the Order of the Sacred Earth. Because you look at the history of religions, orders pop up when religion is on the downslide. For example, Francis of Assisi developed his order because the monks were too comfortable, too fat, too lazy, and out in the country. And Francis, like Dominic, a peer of his, realized that there are communes of young people that really are making things happen. And he mirrored his order on these communes of young people in the late 12th century. So the Order of the Sacred Earth is radically interfaith because we take one vow. I promise to be the best lover of Mother Earth and the best defender of Mother Earth that I can be. In other words, the best mystic, the mystic is a lover, and the best prophet or warrior, the one who says no, who interferes, as Rabbi Ashen said. And we've had this group going for what, 8 years or so around. We have about 65 different pods or small communities around, and we meet once every month, last Tuesday of every month. But again, I would like to see this flourish because why wouldn't the perils of the sacred earth today be drawing all of us, whether we're in any tradition or none? And that's the kind of thing that Mirabai was talking about, to gather together to support one another and to experiment, to find ways in which we are contributing to the health of Mother Earth and assisting others who are doing the same. So that whole idea of taking the past and reinventing it in today's circumstance. Let's say one more thing. Christianity has only existed during the age of Pisces, 2,000 years, age of Pisces. And so a lot of its forms were dictated by the age of Pisces. Pisces is dualistic, two fish swimming in the opposite direction. But now we're in the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is about mysticism. It's about the unconscious. It's about bringing forward the water, and that's feminine energy, into the circle. And so, of course, we're being asked today to reinvent so many forms that we took for granted for 2,000 years. But as Mirabai said, we don't have to throw the baby out with the bath. That there are so many archetypes in the Last Supper, in the Eucharist, that have not even been mined yet, and in the inherited liturgy. But we have to really open up to its possibilities. And if you bring the body in, which is the essence of the cosmic mass, everything is possible. And I've just seen and felt so much ecstasy and so much awakening in so many people who've undergone this experience, that I just know that ritual is essential for our survival as a species. It always has been. Why wouldn't it be today especially? Because we're crazy in our heads and all the rest. And we're, so of course we have to bring the body back. And this is what's missing when people get addicted to screens and so forth.
Matthew, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your vision and your leadership over these many, many years. You're speaking profound wisdom, and I think we can feel it. The cosmic mass is such a beautiful form. And, now if the Pope is bringing back the raves, I'm of an age where I know a lot of people in the 90s who had very spiritual experiences, non-denominational completely, at raves all over the world. And so you're speaking, absolutely is something vital into the space, and something that we're hungry for and that we need, and that is transformational and is community and is positive. And even, it might be a dirty word, but the idea of worship as something to maybe bring back and put in the center. In the Eastern traditions, it's bhakti, which people can get to, this idea of devotion. But there's an idea around worship as well, which I think you're speaking and pointing us towards, which as medicine, as healing, as community, as transformational shared experience. So I just want to deep thank you for your time and wisdom today, Matthew Fox. It is not lost on us, everything you are putting forward. And I love the creation of this new sacred order. This is powerful medicine, powerful work. So blessings on everything that you are continuing to give to the world. And in final reflection, before we throw to Mirabai to close us out, is I love the balance between the mystical and the prophetic. That you're not calling us just to go and be mystics, or you're not just calling us to go and be raging prophets, but you're calling for that harmonization that each individual human is called in these days, in these prophetic days, to become both, and to become the best mystic and the best prophet we each can be. Thank you, Matthew Fox. Mirabai, let's come, and it's only appropriate, I think, for you to close us out. This has been a very rich and enlivening and vigorous conversation, going from the heritage, traversing some of the rocky roads of the now, and then looking into a beckoning future that calls us forth. Let's come to you, Mirabai Starr, for our closing remarks.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Matt, for your companionship on the way. I'm part of the Order of the Sacred Earth. I've participated in Cosmic Mass and can't wait to again. What you are doing, as Ben said, is vital in this world. And Ben, I hope you know that when I said bullshit, I wasn't speaking to you. I was talking about this cliche of, you can't get to water by digging many shallow wells. So we're not digging shallow wells, y'all. What we're doing is opening our hearts to the presence of the sacred, which is the presence of love everywhere we encounter it. And that takes a kind of rigor that just going along with the belief systems that were handed to us do not require of us. The easy path is to not question and to not grapple and wrestle like Jacob did with the angel when he was transformed into Israel. So love requires a kind of fierce courage, that we are willing to dismantle the armor around our hearts. And so the mystics, the way of the mystic is the way of love. And I think what I'm calling us all to do is to be ordinary, everyday mystics in the middle of our lives, rather than looking to some kind of external form to tell us how to connect and become intimate with the sacred. We can do it at the kitchen sink. We can do it while dancing. We can do it while protesting. And there are many ways to just clear the path to love.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Mirabai. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mirabai Starr. Thank you, Matthew Fox. This has been the 10th annual World Interfaith Awareness Week. And we want to thank you both, and thank you to everyone who's produced this, Becky behind the scenes, and Ruth, over to you for, I think we're closing the week. That was amazing.
I'm feeling so gratified that our two communities have come together. And I hope it will become a ritual that we will enact many times through the year. And do you remember the last line from Casablanca, right? When the gendarme puts his arm around Rick from the cafe and says, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. So that's what I imagine for our two communities. And as an ode to the interspiritual community, we're going to have one more musical number called Spiritual but Not Religious. And after that, our hosts, Abigail and Steve Alpert, the brilliant founders of this wonderful annual event, are going to come on and say goodnight to everybody. So thank you, Mirabai. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Ben, for making this an extra. One fact that you need to know, that most of the people that were in my sessions stayed on to listen to you. I was watching the numbers all the time. And so that is remarkable. And I know that they benefited from it greatly. So again, the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And Becky, would you please take it away, and then back to the Alberts.
Hey, everybody. I thought we have so many amazing musical artists right here that I'd rather listen to our people. Just being maybe a little snobby there.
But Ben was amazing. Holy smoke. What a
All three of
diplomat
them.
he is.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad we did that.
And the information there, I was just rocked by the authenticity of the presenters. Holy smoke. It makes me feel, truly on purpose with what we're doing here, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to open it up to, what stood out for people. What are some of the things that stood out? I have been tracking the chat box, and I'm curious, yeah, what are some of the pop some comments in, or if anybody wants to speak, to raise your hand. I'm doing two things at once, so I apologize. So yeah, if anybody wants to speak, raise your hand. Cecilia, if you're with us, come on back. Um, and since Tiara is who really made this happen, she was who lovingly pestered me into doing this, which I'm glad that we did. Thank you, dear. What stands out for you, dear?
I think, first of all, the blending of the communities. Having been with Steve and Abigail since 2017, when Interfaith Awareness Week started, and watching it grow into what it's become, and all the intermingling of communities. So many of us are now a part of Interfaith Awareness Week and Point. And then, as Ruth said, blending that now with Unity Earth, I've been hoping that Hubcast will carry and broadcast all of Interfaith Awareness Week next year. And then it continues to grow. And I know that several of our speakers have mentioned that they've seen where all of us come together and we build this beautiful, I called it a wonderful wide weaving web of peace and love and interaction. And of course, where Kurt and Matthew and Mirabai and Ben took us is what all of our hearts stand for. And bringing that language in a way that grounds it and encouraging us to continue to speak the true truth, which means inclusivity within the diversity. And I'm so grateful that we were able to do this. I was bouncing around from the different Zoom rooms. There were 60 people in that Zoom room. And of course, Ben was broadcasting it out, and then we were broadcasting it out also to our 100 platforms. So thank you, Scott. I just feel really grateful to be a fulcrum for us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tiara. And we'll have prayer time in a little bit. A couple comments. Sophia writes, I love that the Pope is wanting raves. Yes, absolutely. Really cool. And Susan Bloomquist writes, what stood out for me was how these people have done so much important work and how they are visioning a new world with real agreement between many faiths. Yeah, they really pointed it out. I appreciated the distinction between interfaith and interspirituality. I also appreciated just how it's so important for there to be community. And of course, that's who we are. You know, we've become a really thriving and beautiful community where we all kind of are learning more about each other. And there's, many of you have become friends and developed connections. So that's a really, really beautiful thing. I would love to turn it over to Ashok to provide us with a chance to kind of integrate all of that.
Is Cecilia going to come first?
I don't see her.
She's right here, sweetie. I'll bring her up.
Okay, I didn't see her. There she is. Hi, Cecilia. Then thank you, Omashar. I looked for you and I couldn't find you, so then I was gonna try a thing. So, how was that for you? What stood out for you in that?
It was so beautiful. I recently read Mirabai's book, Ordinary Everyday Mysticism. And I love how in her book and what Matthew was saying is that we're all finding the mystic within ourselves. And I think that is where the Christ consciousness is coming. The second coming, I believe, is all of us. And I love seeing that reflected in Matthew's work and Mirabai's work. We are all becoming that, right? So that was beautiful to see that there.
I agree. I want to read what Carol Craig just wrote. She wrote, I love how interconnected we are with so many folks all over the world. I can't join a Zoom meeting anymore without knowing a lot of folks in there. Many I met through the Global Peace Tribe, but I also knew many prior to coming. And yes, and Eleanor Joy is agreeing. I mean, it is really beautiful. There's so many communities that we collaborate with now. Soul Search, the Connection Field, Unity Earth, Portals to Ascension, and many, many others. So it's beautiful. And now we get to collaborate with you, Cecilia.
Yeah, how exciting. I'm so glad to be here. I have to say, Scott, I just want to tell you how much I love that backdrop that you have behind you. It is so beautiful. Did you design that yourself?
I didn't design it myself. No, we hired someone to design it.
Well, it's fabulous. It's like, wow.
And I love how I look like the Statue of Liberty when I've got the spikes coming out of my head there.
I love it.
It was not designed for that to happen. It's just kind of worked out that way. But thank you for acknowledging our logo.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right, what you gonna play for us?
Okay, I got one that's a great sing-along, and since your tribe over there, or where everyone is, they like to dance, I thought this would be a good one to take us out.
Perfect. That'll get people up. So everybody get up and moving, those of you that are still with us, and we still have 42 people with us, so that's pretty good.
Here we go. All those 42 can start dancing. Hear our voices, hear our songs, hear our dreams of a new tomorrow, a new tomorrow. Let's join hands, let's join hearts, let's join souls, break what divides us. Break what divides us. Love is the answer, sing with me. Love, love, love is the answer. Love, love, love is the answer. Love, love, love is the answer. Love will bring us home. Look inside, let's not hide. Don't let pride keep us from healing. Keep us from healing. Can you see, you and me? We can be friends and not enemies. Friends and not enemies. Love, love, love is the answer. Love, love, love is the answer. Love, love, love is the answer. Love will bring us home. Rich and poor, more and more. We can't ignore greed that brings war. Greed that brings war. Come on, we are brothers, we are sisters, fathers, mothers, lovers of freedom, lovers of freedom. Love, love, love is the answer. Love, love, love is the answer. Love, love, love is the answer. Love will bring us home. Love, love, love is the answer. Love, love, love is the answer. Love, love, love is the answer. Love will bring us home. Love will bring us home. Love will bring us home. Love will bring us, each and every one of us, home.
Beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, of course, Cecilia, for that beautiful song. Got everybody up moving and grooving and dancing
You're
and getting
so
our energy.
welcome. What a
Yeah.
beautiful night. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's wonderful to know about you, our shared love of Yogananda, our shared love of Marshall Rosenberg, and most of all, our shared love of peace.
Our
And
tribe.
I definitely look forward to bringing you back and
Thank you
give our
so
thanks
much.
to Greg and your tribe that you've got there, your team. We appreciate all of them and stick around. We've
Thank
got a
you.
few. We still have our prayer time and a shok and a final song from Omar Shah. So we still have some good stuff coming up.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so, what a blessing to be with you all.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Scott.
Absolutely.
Everybody. Yeah.
You know,
It's late
I
here, so I think I'm going to check out because it is a
totally
little
okay.
late here.
Totally.
Yeah. So
Totally.
great to meet you all. God bless everybody.
Uh,
Good night.
Um, you know, I have two totem animals in my life, the wolf and the bee. And I just really feel inspired to share something from Dorina Joy. So I'm going to do that. I'll bring up the picture that she sent us. You all seeing that okay? Great. Um, so today is Honeybee's Day.
We just see the pasture, the green pasture. We don't see what she put in the chat.
Oh, you're not seeing the, let's try it again. That's okay. maybe what I need to do
That's
is
because we're on Interfaith week, so we're laying down in green pastures.
all right, I'm gonna try a different approach to sharing it with all of you. I just downloaded it and this should work. How's that? Are you seeing the bees?
Yes.
Bzzz.
Yep.
Okay, great. So today is, and thank you, Dorina, I think she's still with us. It is Honeybees Day, and they really are such important beings and pollinators for our ecosystem and human survival. And they are imperiled by our massive pollution, almost threatening extinction. And if we lose the bees, we are in big, big trouble. She did provide some really cool little facts about bees. A bee has 5 eyes and an amazing sense of smell. They can go a mile. They mate high up in the sky. After mating, the male will lose his reproductive organs and die. Bees do not sleep, and we can plant lavender to attract and to protect them. Um, and she also put in some amazing things about how uh, their little wings can flap 200 times in a second. And a queen bee can lay over 2,000 eggs in a day. Really remarkable beings. So let's all, maybe in tonight's prayer time, let's remember the bees. And I'm going to read a couple comments and then we're going to go to Ashoka. Um, I'm scared. Thank you. Yeah. There's more bees. Thank you. I think we're good. Bonnie says, my mint is always covered with bees. And Jerry Anderson writes, I've learned the most harm we are doing to the bees is to stop using dryer sheets. Huh. You mean the little sheets that we put into the dryer? Maybe clarify that. And DR says she has a pollinator garden that belongs to the bees. They rule her front yard and the deer runs the side yard. All right. Ashok, my dear friend, thank you for staying with us all evening long. What stood out for you in the interfaith conversation with Matthew, Ben, and Mirabai?
What Mirabai said was that we need fierce feminine, and we talked about Black Madonna, and I will be singing a song for Kali Mata. Kali has fierceness as well as kindness. It was very informative that it told me that I can be open. I don't have to have, like Mirabai said, that she is not made to believe in one thing. She is open for many opportunities to grow, not just Judaism, but also many faiths that she followed, and she learned a lot. So that touched me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that, and how perfect that you're going to play a song dedicated to Kali.
Yeah, it's. I sent it to you, Scott. Please post it on a message. And thank you all for staying back. I love singing with you folks. The chant is called Thousands of Suns. So I just chose to sing this based on what Mirabai said about fierce feminine. Who tells me thou art dark, O my mother divine? Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. And then afterwards, I'll sing a prayer which says that God is in front, God is in back, God is in the right, in the left, up and down, so everywhere, and salutations to the divine. It could be God or Goddess, the Mother. tells me the word are. Oh, my mother divine, who tells me the word are. Oh, my mother divine, thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Who tells me the word are? Oh, my mother divine, who tells me the word are? Oh, my mother divine, thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Who tells me the word are? Oh, my mother divine, who tells me the word are? Oh, my mother divine, thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Who tells me the word are? Oh, my mother divine, who tells me the word are? Oh, my mother divine, thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Who tells me the word are? Oh, my mother divine, who tells me the word are? Oh, my mother divine, thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Who tells me the word are? Oh, my mother divine, who tells me the word are? Oh, my mother divine, oh, my mother divine, oh, my mother divine, oh, my mother divine, oh, my mother divine. Oh, my mother divine, oh, my mother divine, oh, my mother divine, oh, my mother divine. Namo namastestu sahasra kritva Punasya bhuyopi namo namaha. Namaha purastadata prustataste. Namostute sarvata eva sarva.
Those of us who have cameras on, please, let's all send twinkles, love, and appreciation to Ashok for his beautiful devotion and his embodiment of service. Ashok, I'm always so touched by your beautiful demonstration of devotion. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Scott and Om Shar.
You can find him. He has such a beautiful name for his website, swankirtan.com. Swankirtan.com. That's where you can read what I read at the beginning, his beautiful mantra and how he spends his life. And you could see his upcoming events that he's got going on. And so this is his website and his beautiful photo gallery as well. There's some really beautiful photos there. So thank you so much, beloved friend, and I look forward to you being with us again, hopefully soon.
Thank you, everybody.
And I'm going to turn things over to Diara for our prayer time.
What a blessing and honor to follow that deepening, deepening, deepening prayer. The beloved devotion to the Great Mother, the Divine Father. And we take that beauty and that reverence and we bring it into all of our conversation. We bless the bees. We bless all the insects. We bless the winged ones, the two-legged, the four-legged. We bless all of nature, known and unknown, seen and unseen. And we know that this holy communion between humans and the natural world are meant to be respected, honored, revered. And we ask for forgiveness, for we know not what we do. And we ask for divine intervention as we learn to change our habits and patterns to support all of life, to make room for all of life, our ability to have and hold it all in that great paradox of those difficult choices. We ask for a way for all life to coexist, for there no longer need to be any choices, that somehow miracles occur, that harmony be expanded in ways that we can't even imagine among all creatures, large and small, all entities known and unknown, that merging of the light and the dark. And as we continue to build on the magic that's been co-created here, we continue to expand that into our interfaith and our interspirituality. And knowing that all the creatures have their own spirituality, their own intuitive connections. And we ask that humans look more toward nature for our guidance. And we bless all those entities that support us in our evolution into love-evolution. We bless the work of Interfaith Awareness Week. We bless the intermingling of our communities. We bless all those who are suffering. We bless all those who are struggling to hold the values of love. We bless all those who hold the light and the laughter and the joy amidst the darkness. And we bless the fact that we're learning to love ourselves, that we're being given permission to learn what self-love really is, and that is the first step into loving our neighbors. We ask that our children keep that love of self, that we keep that light that exists within them and help them expand it and shine their light out into the world. And we ask that light come into anywhere where there is darkness. And we ask for blessings specifically for the individuals that are struggling with physical health, with financial health, mental health, emotional health. We bless all those in our Zoom room. We bless all those listening. And we ask for divine intervention to return us all to the wholeness. Again, a blessing to the bees, for which our whole life depends upon, for our sustenance. And we bless the awakening world. We bless the global peace tribe. We bless you, Scott. We bless you, Omashar, Ashok, Cecilia, all our musicians. And may the music within our hearts continue to shine as well.
Thank you very much, Giara. I'm going to go to gallery view, and let's just have a minute or two of silence where we can all silently, with the group connection, the group vibration, put out our own prayers. Maximum grace for all who are challenged in any way at this time. Maximum grace for our beautiful blue-green planet. Maximum grace for all of us here. Thank you. Thank you for the prayers, everyone. I'm just going to bring up one more time our beloved Yogananda. I truly believe that he brings many of us together. So many of the important people in my life have been devotees of Yogananda. So I just wanted to bring him up. And I also want to let you know what we've got coming up, because we've got a great show on Wednesday night. Some really just amazing all-stars. We're going to be previewing Suzanne Ross's upcoming Transcendence Retreat in San Diego. So I've got two co-hosts, Suzanne and Alan Steinfeld will both be co-hosting. Whitley Strieber is going to be with us. Eben Alexander, they're both heavyweights. They're major. I mean, we could do an entire show just with one of them. And then we're going to meet a new friend, Leslie Mitchell Clark, and Tim Spinney, who you recently saw on the show, is going to be with us. So it's going to be a really dynamic show, a lot of cosmic stuff, and it's definitely going to be a good one. So please do join us on Wednesday night. And with no further ado, it is my pleasure to turn it over to our beloved Omashar to close this out.
I am the light that lifts you. I am the love that beats your heart. I am the truth that frees you to be who you are. Let me see your light. Let me feel your love. Let me hear the truth. Let me know you. Show me, reveal to me all that you are, all that I am. through. Lift the veils from me. Let me touch you. Show me. Reveal to me all that you are, all that I am.
Oh, my sure, that was beautiful. That's a new one.
Yeah, I finished it this afternoon. I thought, why not put it on the show tonight?
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I haven't quite worked out the arrangement, but it was good enough to premiere here.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous. You know, when you first start playing it, at first I go, no, wait a minute, I've never heard this one before. And then I'm afraid to mention it because like, God, what if he's done it before and I'm not remembering? But then it was like, oh, no, I would remember this one. It's beautiful. Just,
Yeah, it's so haunting. It just came and it was. I didn't want to write it because I was too lazy, and it was coming through my head in the sleep, all the choruses and all the different chord changes, and so I just jumped on my writing thing which yesterday and polished it off this afternoon. So yeah.
well, there's a lot of comments coming in right now.
Yeah, it's called Show Me, and it's basically spirit. Show me the truth, show me you hear me, show me you feel me, let me touch you, let me know that I am one with you. Basically, yeah.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Well, let's please put this one into the Omashar jukebox to periodically
I will.
play.
I'll have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I have about 80 songs in there which I go around, but there's about 20 at the top of the list that keep on floating back up. So yes. All
Yeah.
right.
It's a winner. A beautiful way to close a beautiful night. Thank you, brother. And thank you, everybody, for being with us. And all of you watching the replay or the recording or on Facebook or YouTube, we love you. Hope to see you all Wednesday night. It's going to be a great show on Wednesday. Thanks again, Tiara, for all that you did to make interfaith awareness happen. And let us all practice interfaith awareness tomorrow, Sunday. Good day to practice. Maybe, maybe pick up uh, a writing, a teaching from a different faith, a faith that's maybe different than what you normally would read. Um, that would be a fun homework assignment for all of us.